This is an LA Times Studios podcast.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Livin' Well. Today, we are talking about one of my favorite categories in the world, but definitely in beauty. We're talking about scent. It's a massively, rapidly growing category, and we have one of my favorite brand founders here today, Chriselle Lim, who is a longtime tastemaker, YouTuber, entrepreneur, just all around like arbiter of style and taste with us today. Welcome, Chriselle.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to see you. We've known each other through the years,
Yes.
and I've watched you build businesses and walk the biggest like red carpets in Europe, and I like literally follow you all over the world. So many of your followers do. And I've loved watching you build Flur. Like I said, the fragrance business has become the most financially successful category in beauty, which is, as we know, the beauty landscape is massive in itself right now. And I feel like with most things that you've done with your career since you sort of started with your content creation back in like 2010, 2011, you have always been like on the forefront. Tell us about, why, when you acquired Fleur, how you got involved, and then we'll get into some more scent specific stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And Fleur was not on the map for me, really. I was going through one of the biggest transitions in my life when the opportunity to acquire Fleur happened, and that was when I was going through my divorce. And just kind of a backstory is that I've been a content creator in fashion specifically for almost 2 decades.
Really?
Almost.
Okay.
So we're going on to like my 17th
Well,
year.
you were an OG.
Yeah.
Like you are that first wave with a Ami song and,
Yes.
so we've all gone through the last 2 decades with you, which I
Yeah.
love.
Thank you. And so I've always loved content. The heart of what I do every day is to create and to be able to share stories.
Mhm.
And so when I thought of my trajectory in my career, I knew that I was always going to be a creator of some sort through storytelling, but owning a fragrance brand was never on the map for me.
Mhm.
But when this opportunity came up, and I've known of Fleur. So for those of you that don't know, Fleur was an existing brand before. It was a beautiful brand. They were actually one of the very first fragrance brands to be completely transparent with their ingredients.
Oh, I love that.
And this was way back in the day where that was a big no-no because
Mm.
you didn't really know what you're spraying onto your body and your skin. You're like, "Ooh, it smells good, but I have no idea what's in here,"
Well,
right?
that's maybe part of the mystery, right?
Yes.
Like we don't really want to know how the sausage is
Exactly.
made. We just want to like
Yeah,
part of
the
the
end
allure.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it was specifically when I became a mom, I was struggling a little bit with finding fragrances because I was like, I don't know what's in these fragrances that I love so much. And I've always been scent obsessed. I've always worn fragrances. So when this opportunity came up, I knew of Fleur. I respected what Fleur has done
Mhm.
already. And I was like, this could be a really exciting new chapter for me. What do I have to lose at this point?
Mm.
And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then at least I've gotten to know more of an industry that I respect so much.
Mhm.
And so I'm a bit of a risk taker and I love trying new things, learning from the best. We work with some of the most incredible noses that I've been such fans of, like Jerome Epinette and Frank Vogel.
Mm.
And so that's really how it all started. My journey with Fleur was really during a really dark, hard time for me.
Mhm.
I was feeling lonely. And so I was like, what does a scent smell like? What do people feeling lonely want to smell like?
Mm.
And so that question kind of got me thinking of, okay, what am I craving right now in my life? I'm craving warmth. I'm craving comfort. I want to be loved because
Mhm.
I felt so unloved at that time. And that's how Missing Person was born. And that scent was a scent that really kind of took the world by a storm. No one was really doing blind fragrance buying at the
Mm-hmm.
time
Mm-hmm.
because we weren't available at any counters. We weren't at Sephora. We weren't at Nordstrom. We weren't at any retailers.
So it
So
was all D2C
it
at the
was
time.
all D2C. So initially, I was like, if we could sell maybe 5 of these, I'll be happy.
I
Because
love
who
it.
would buy a new brand, a new scent that you've never smelled before? That's
Right.
unheard of.
Right.
But we sold out and we garnered a wait list of 200,000 people. I think actually 250,000 people for a brand new scent that no one has smelled before. And it was all through storytelling. It was
Yeah.
all through emotion based. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people they were one, very curious of how this smelled like because what does lonely smell like?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but once people started getting their hands on the scent, they would spray it and they would just start crying and be like, oh my God, this is reminding me of my mom who passed away or my best friend who just moved. And it just brought so much emotion and nostalgia to
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we're like, okay, we're onto something.
Well, you talk about storytelling. I know you've called, your entree into Fleur like your breakup album. And, the same way, everybody responds to like a Taylor Swift album.
Yeah.
I think this did that for so many people. This, I mean, Missing Person. Tell me the story about how it went kind of, I guess, viral, you'd say, overnight.
Yeah. So we launched the fragrance and there was a few sales coming through. And then it wasn't overnight. It was actually over, I would say about 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild because I thought something was broken. I was like, no, this has to be wrong because it just started, our website just started crashing. And it was really, truly one of those moments where you're like, is this actually happening? And it feels surreal still talking about it because it was our very first scent and we had very low expectations at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But what it made us realize, what it made me realize was that people want to be seen even when it comes down to their beauty routines. And I know that sounds so far fetched and emotional when it comes to something as just simple as a beauty routine. But the scent became more than just a scent. It
Mm-hmm.
became a opportunity for people to talk about something that was so deep and maybe even painful.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed them to just show up as themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was just permission to self express.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that kind of led the trend of people spraying it and then just sharing kind of what it reminded them of. And of course, the scent is beautiful, but I think it became more than a scent.
And there's
Yeah.
such a connectivity, obviously, with people sharing these different stories. And I don't know, timing wise, it wasn't smack dab in the pandemic, like during lockdown, but it was kind of right at the tail of the pandemic. So people were sort of still used to like being apart.
Yeah.
And then this kind of started giving them like this entry back into society. And
Yeah.
it like that's kind of how I see it. Like
Yeah.
people, it was like the first toe out the door and people were sharing stories and then they could actually like come back together.
Yeah. Well, we have to remember that this was 2021. So it was right
Oh, right.
post pandemic.
Right.
And so people were cooped up for the last year.
Yeah.
And I think there's a number of things. And of course, as I mentioned, the scents are stunning and they're unique and they're special. But I think the timing of it was also very unique as people were a little nervous
Mm-hmm.
about coming back to society.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were looking for that, whether it's makeup or skincare or fragrance,
Mm-hmm.
that's when fragrance really exploded because they were like, okay, this is gonna give me kind of that extra self
It's like,
confidence.
and also it's like you're turning the page.
Yes.
Like I smelled like this before, or I smelled like nothing. And this is sort of like this is me now
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
A new chapter.
a new chapter was a
Yeah.
new chapter for you.
Yes.
It's a new chapter for so many people. Like, okay, we're trying to put COVID behind us and kind of get back
Yeah.
into the world. Why do you think scent has become such a big touchstone for people?
Yeah.
And you said blind fragrance buying, but lots of people do that now because
Yeah.
so much of it is online. Yes, Sephora has increased their offering, Ulta has increased their
Mhm.
offering, but a lot of it is buying D2C
Yeah.
still. So, and people are much more comfortable doing that. So, why do you think people are so excited about scent these days and really excited to explore new brands?
Well, it's a category that hasn't really been it hasn't really evolved,
Totally.
and it was one of those hush hush categories where if you know, you know,
Mhm.
and there was only a few players in the market for, for the longest time up
Mhm.
until the last few years.
Mhm.
And so I think one, there were just not enough options for people. There were obviously beautiful fashion houses that had extremely gorgeous fragrances that still do, but I think it felt a little bit intimidating for people, especially a younger generation,
Mhm.
right? And so when Fleur came into the market, I think we were definitely the middle person between the high luxe and then there's the mass fragrances, right? We still want to offer a very beautiful luxury experience
Mhm.
at a way more affordable price point. And so it kind of bridged the gap between mass and prestige.
Mhm.
I call it masstige.
Mhm.
And there weren't, in the history of fragrance, there weren't that many masstige
Mhm.
fragrance brands.
Mhm.
So I think it allowed people the permission to play with fragrance
Mhm.
more. And now there's a lot of amazing players kind of in this masstige market.
Mhm.
And again, people are just discovering themselves through fragrance now. It's self-expression, kind of like makeup before. So it's a new category that a whole new generation is just learning about. And in fact, there are so many, not just new customers to Fleur, but people that have never used fragrance before. So this category is completely new to them.
Mhm.
So that's really exciting because this is again, there weren't many players before, there weren't many options, but now we're seeing people kind of mix in from high to low
Mhm.
and just having fun with it.
You're totally right. Because outside of the, like, big fashion houses and then also, like, a Cartier or, Bulgari or something with, like, their perfumes, if you talked about masstige as far as the price point as well, it was always kind of like a celebrity led,
Yeah.
So it's like whomever has their fragrance, and then, like, that could be a good or bad
Yeah.
thing depending on, who you are, and if you're like, "I don't wanna use that celebrity's perfume, but I really like the way it smells." It's, like, so branded, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your creative process with the branding.
Yeah, this is my favorite question because this is where I really thrive in, which is just the creativity behind each scent and what we name it. We have so much fun with the names because it is the first impression, right?
Mhm,
Before you even smell it, you kind of judge how it's going to smell or even the bottle by the name.
mhm,
And so the naming of it all was very important for me. It should provoke something. So Father Figure, for me, it's a very fresh, empowering scent. It's our very first unisex scent. It's not too masculine, it's not too feminine. It's right in between. Equally, men and women both love it. And that was very, very important to me because what Father Figure represent was when I was going through my divorce, um, I had to play single mom for a while.
mm,
And so I had to play both father figure and mother figure role. And I believe that there really is no roles for any gender anymore,
mm-mm,
whether it be a man or a woman. We kind of all do it all now. Men can be caretakers, women can be in the boardrooms closing deals.
mhm,
And so, what I wanted this scent to really represent was the modern woman, the modern man, which meant that it was fluid and it was
mhm,
genderless and
mhm,
it just felt very empowering. So, I love it when people come up to me, they're like, Chriselle, I landed that deal and I wore father figure. It just embodies something in them. It gets them, again, I don't know if it's a mental thing or they smell and they're like, oh, this feels like confidence,
mhm,
but it all starts with the name, right?
mm.
So, they wanna, be the father figure that day. They'll spray it on before they go into that very important interview, whatever it is. Um, Same thing with missing person if they're feeling lonely and they want some warmth and comfort.
Mm.
And so that's the creativity. I think I look at it as a whole, like a whole 360 storyline from start to finish. And it always starts off with the scent and then the name and how we're going to present it to the world through our campaigns.
So does a name really come first? Like, are you sometimes, like, traveling and you see something? I was talking to someone the other day. Oh, Mickey Drexler from, and he told me how he named Old Navy. And he literally saw the words Old Navy in Paris above a bar. It was an old bar called Old Navy.
Uh-huh.
And this was back in
Oh,
like
wow.
mid 90s. I know I didn't know that story. So, I mean, I know my point is I know a name can come to you like out of nowhere. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'll think of a word and I'll be like, oh, I want to write a story about, because it gets you already in a
Yeah.
mood, like 2 words or a phrase or, something you read in a book. So, like, does it start that way with you usually, or it can
It could go either way
yeah.
because sometimes I'll be reading something and kind of like the Old Navy story, I'll be like just kind of zoning out and gazing at something and be like, oh, that could be a really good Fleur name.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, what would it represent? Right? Or vice versa, like, oh, we really want to come out with, let's say, I don't know, a strawberry scent. What are we going to name that? And then we'll kind of go through whether it be going through songs or lyrics. I get very much moved by songs and emotions through just um, songwriters. So
Mm.
I love listening to music and kind of pairing that sometimes. So again, it really just depends.
I love how, like, well, I know missing person and father figure have, like, such direct correlation to times in your life,
Hmm.
and so you're able to very authentically be transparent about what's going on with you because that's been your career,
Yeah.
about sharing your life with your followers and your community, but it's, like, directly reflective of something universal. Are
Yeah.
there other scents that are deeply, I know they're all personal to you because 'cause
Yeah.
you've created them, but that mirror something that has gone on specifically in your life?
Yeah. It was really important in the beginning that a lot of these scent came from my personal own emotion and storytelling,
Mhm.
um, because that was what was important for the brand to have the brand and identity. Now we go both ways, right?
Mhm.
We go both ways of like, okay, I went through this and I'm going through this. I would love to create a scent that represents this.
Mm.
So we'll go back and forth with the fragrance houses and our noses, being like, what do you guys think about this? It's summertime. We want to create something flirty and juicy and fun. I'm like being single. Um,
Hot girl
hot
summer.
girl summer.
Mhm.
But then on the flip side, we have to be cautious now that we have a full fledged family of fluorescents of not overdoing it with certain categories. Like for
Mhm.
instance, to go too heavy on just gourmand scents because they're so trendy, right?
Mm.
So we have to make sure we're building out a very well built out family, a well
Mhm.
balanced family.
Mhm.
So it's not
Mhm.
too heavy on one scent or the other.
Mhm.
So there's a little bit more strategy now versus before. It was like, I'm feeling this and everyone needs this. So
Strawberries go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
And strawberry is actually an interesting one because we launched strawberry letter when strawberry was kind of trending, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
So we're like, okay, we'll keep this as kind of more of a limited thing. We think that it's more of a limited scent because strawberries are so trended. And we actually have been working on a strawberry scent for a very long time. We were supposed to launch a strawberry scent over a year ago, but we just couldn't get the juice right because it kept going sour.
Mm.
So we finally got it right, but it happened that it was during that time when strawberries were really strawberry makeup, strawberry
Totally. Strawberry
everything,
girl. Yeah.
right? And so we're like, oh, it's so trendy. We'll just have this as like a limited launch thing. Totally underestimated the power of strawberry letter. So it's actually one of our top SKUs now. So sometimes we get it wrong too. So we can only foresee what we think is going to predict to happen. Heavy cream being another one. We're like, heavy cream is going to be a limited edition launch. That
Everybody
went
wants
wild.
creamy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of gourmand, explain to our listeners, watchers, sniffers, whatever. I wish we had like smell-o-vision on this one
I
because
know.
I like we have like a range of things from Fleur to smell, but what gourmand means because that is a really big trend in scent.
Mhm.
But what does gourmand mean?
So Gourmand is one of the families, the olfactive families, and it has been one of the most desired, hottest olfactives that everyone's talking about, which is really delectable. So think vanillas, creams, whipped desserts. So anything edible. So thinking of um, it's people they usually associate gourmand with something sweeter, like a
Mhm.
bakery.
Mhm.
So when we enter this category of gourmand, I personally don't love overly
Sweet.
sweet
Right.
things. And so we're like, how can we create? So vanilla skin was one of our very first gourmands that we got into in a very strong way. And we said, how can we launch a gourmand but make it a very sophisticated gourmand where someone like me, a 40-year-old woman, would want to wear? Because I
Right.
don't necessarily want to smell like a cupcake bakery
Totally.
all day.
I did that with what was Victoria's Secret, like vanilla cream,
Yeah.
vanilla sugar
Oh,
when
yes,
I was like in
yes,
high school.
yes.
Like we don't need to go back there.
I,
Yeah,
I feel like you and I probably grew up in the same era of
yeah,
like dousing ourselves
totally.
in body mist.
Raspberry mist or whatever it was called from Bath and Body Works.
Yeah.
Moonlit
Cucumber,
Path,
melon.
cucumber melon,
Yeah. Yeah.
something
We're not
called
going back there.
no, something called Moonlit Path that's purple and yeah, no.
Yeah. No, we're not going there.
So you talked about gourmands are super trendy, which
Hmm.
I love, and I think that I can see why in pop culture, like we're kind of getting into that gourmand territory. A lot of people love like cutesy things
Hmm.
and all those things that are trending on TikTok. You mentioned though about getting strawberry letter just right and that you couldn't get the juice to stick without kind of going sour. What does that mean? And what is the shelf life of a perfume and what
Yeah.
are things to sort of look out for as far as like especially because if you have a fragrance wardrobe, like a
Hmm.
library, which most of us are building these days, and I have way more than one Fleur
Hmm.
fragrance. I probably have like 4 or 5. So we're using less and less,
Yeah.
right? So how long can we have those? How long should we use them for? And what are we looking out for with ingredients that, may go bad?
Yeah. That's a really good question because I think people forget that fragrance is there's it's chemistry at the end of
Mm,
the day, right? There's a chemist behind the counter and they're putting molecules together and figuring out if things work or not. And you have to sit on them. And sometimes in the beginning, it smells incredible, but then it could go sour or dependent on your pH level on your skin, something that smells incredible on someone might smell horrible on you, right? And so there's a lot of different elements that people kind of forget about. And especially when it comes to gourmand and any like milky scents,
mm,
pe- there's you have to try it on skin, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people do is that they spray it on paper, which I
mm,
get. If you don't like it, you don't want to spray on your skin.
of
But if
course.
you want to really understand how it's gonna sit
Mm,
and develop on your skin, you have to put it on your skin because the
mhm.
paper is gonna be completely different. So it might
Right.
smell amazing on a paper, but might smell not so great on your skin. So with that said, when it comes to shelf life with fragrance, it does expire. I think people also forget that, but it really depends. If you're dealing with something that's fully natural and oils, it's a lot shorter. It's anywhere from 1 to 3 years.
Okay.
And if it's more of alcohol based, it could go from anywhere from 5 to 7 years.
Because of the alcohol makes it more
Hmm.
like shelf stable.
Yes. And so it really depends. But I think the key thing is that you also, again, it's chemistry. So if you're exposing it to heat, sunlight, air, it's gonna contaminate. So you have to keep it at room temperature, preferably like a little colder.
Hmm.
And I think
Not in
people,
direct sunlight.
yeah.
Right.
And so when traveling, you want to have a little, I always have like a little travel pouch. You want to put
Hmm.
it in like a little pouch and not just have it like sitting around.
Sure.
So those are things that you have to look out for. And you also have to remember that if you're unsure, just spray it. And you can tell by smelling it. You're
Right.
like, this smells
It
different.
smells off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not me. It's
Yeah.
that's something's been around too long. What are some fragrance hacks or like layering tricks that might make your scent last longer?
So what I personally like to do is I like to dab a little bit of moisturizer on, and you could do it with um, like any moisturizer or even Vaseline,
Okay.
just on like your pulse points.
Okay.
And it could be a tiny, tiny bit, and you could spray your fragrance on top of that because fragrance likes to cling on moisturized skin.
Oh,
And if it's dry, it will evaporate faster.
okay.
So I always like to fragrance layer with body moisturizer first, and then I put on my fragrances. So,
And it'll kind of just cling and last a bit
mhm,
longer.
mhm,
And also, what I love about your line is you have a range of products in that scent. So you
mhm.
can have the deodorant in
Yeah.
vanilla skin and then the vanilla smoke hair
Yeah.
mist, which I love putting like an oil that I love the way it smells, or I'll take the roller ball of missing person and kind of just like put it through there in the back of my neck so you can kind of like there's like a
You're a missing
waft of it.
person gal,
I
huh?
am a
I
missing
could
person
tell.
gal.
I
I
love
do
that.
love it. I love a musky scent. So
Same.
that's one of my favorite. But yeah, so you can layer in
Mm,
that way where maybe you don't want to do like the full
mhm.
perfume on because it's maybe a little intense. So you can kind of layer with like a hair, what do you call
Body
it?
mist, hair and body
A
mist.
body mist, hair and body mist, and like the deodorant.
Yeah, we do that for our core. So our core, we have different categories. So for father figure, vanilla skin, missing person, we don't have a deodorant yet.
Mhm.
Again, that was another formula that was very hard to create as a deodorant. We tried, and it's just a muskier scent,
Yeah,
so it's harder to create a deodorant for that.
I see that.
Yeah. So, because you're like, do I really want to smell like skin musk with my deodorant? So,
You're
anyways,
like, aren't we trying to rid the musk under the
exactly,
arms? Right, right,
exactly.
right. I
But
get that.
for vanilla skin and father figure, we have incredibly hardworking deodorants that actually work so much better than the deodorants that I was originally using. I was shook by
Mm,
how effective they are. So what I've been doing is layering because I'm a father figure gal.
okay.
I love my father figure, especially when I'm not launching something. My go-to is kind of father
Is that your
figure.
go-to? And you
Yeah.
said it's a green scent.
Yes.
So what does
So
that mean?
so green is people tend to categorize green scents as hyper sporty scents.
Hmm.
So the sportier masculine scents.
Okay.
Um, but because for me, I want it to be fluid, we added the fig in, so it's not so masculine.
Yeah.
It's the perfect balanced duo. So I like to put on the father figure deodorant,
Mhm.
then apply the father figure body cream, and then going into the father figure. We don't have a body mist for it, but fragrance, and that will last me all
That's
day,
a great layer.
all day.
Yeah.
So those are for people that only want to wear the one scent because I get a lot of questions of how do I layer scent without having to mix scents?
Mhm.
So those are for people that want to stick with one scent, right?
Mhm.
And that don't want to fight, any other combinations. But we're in an era right now where people love layering different scents
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
different combinations, different
Mhm.
olfactive families.
Mhm.
And I think this generation they want to personalize it as their own.
Totally.
They wanna be the one being like, "I created this
Yeah.
and no one's tried it yet."
Yeah.
They love that,
Yeah.
and we love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I want people to experience Fleur and be like, "This is me. This is represents who I am."
Yeah.
So I mix, whether it be vanilla skin with peach skin or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Um, so you can layer different mists and eau de parfums together. Yeah. Or even EDPs on EDPs together.
So for
Yeah.
people who like I think once people get into it and see how they can play and layer and make it their own, but what about people who are like have always been like I'm just like not a scent person, whether they're a little sensitive to it or they're just
Yep.
overwhelmed or I mean, scent has really the power, good and bad. Like maybe they had a situation when they were younger and there was a scent that really turned them off
Trigger
and
them.
yeah, it
Yeah.
triggered them. And so how would you kind of advise someone to start?
I always say go back to what makes you feel good. So think about like
Mm,
a core memory of feeling really happy and good. What was that moment? So whether it be on the beach on a vacation or it be at home, cuddling with your family and your kids, that usually is a great start if people are like, I have no idea what I'm into, but I really want to figure out what scent
hmm
to get into. And because I think scent does so much more than just liking something, I think it represents a part of who you are and a moment in your life.
mm,
And so that's one question that I always ask. And if they're still unsure, I would say, okay, fine. Do you like fresh? Do you like more floral? Do you like more woody or
Yeah.
earthy? So kind of the
Citrus. Right.
basics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Citrus. And so from there, usually they could say, "Oh, I like something that smells more feminine and girly." Okay, I'll be like, "Okay, maybe you're more of a floral gal then."
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a really good start, like those two. And then going into, okay, do you want the fragrance to walk in first, as in like a really strong, bold fragrance? Because some people do like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want something where it's more you and you want to walk in first and people might notice the scent, but it's not too evocative in your
Mm-hmm.
face?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really depends on what their personality is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I would usually start.
What's a scent, not a perfume, or it could be a perfume scent, but pre-Flur?
Hmm.
What's a scent that can always like transport you back to like a time and place? It doesn't have to be a perfume. It could be coffee. It could be,
Ah, that's a good
uh,
question. Two things. When it comes to fragrance, I would have to say CK1, Calvin Klein. I still have a bottle, like
like a vintage
not the
bottle.
vintage one,
Oh, okay.
because I overused mine and
Yeah.
it would have been, I wish I could kept my old bottles, by the way. But I bought a new one just so I could have that memory. And it
Mm-hmm.
just takes me back to my teen years.
100%.
Yeah.
Ever the campaign was so
So
good.
good. So good. It that bottle still I think that bottle is the bottle that or the fragrance that actually had me obsessed with fragrance.
Hmm.
And because I was such an and this is totally going off tangent, but I was totally not a cool, confident kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the only Asian girls growing up in my school. I was tall and lanky, and not like fully developed. No boys liked me. But when I put on Calvin Klein CK1, it did something where I just felt a little cooler. I
Yeah.
felt a little more confident. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's how it started for me.
I love that.
Yeah. And besides that, an obvious scent like that, it would probably be my mom's homemade cookies. She was a full-time stay-at-home mom, and every day after school, she would have baked goods for us, just waiting
She'd make them every day.
every day. And I didn't appreciate it back then, but now
Can
I'm
you
like,
imagine if you made homemade baked something every single
I
day?
still haven't told my kids that story because I'm like, I don't want
The
any
bar's too
expectations.
high.
Yeah, way too high.
Your mom needs her own Fleur perfume for
Oh
that.
yeah. Yeah, baked goods.
She's straight up in the gourmand category.
Yeah, maybe that's where it started.
Mom's baking. Better than that, but
How about you? Do you have
something.
any scent memories?
Okay, so there is apple juice because I was obsessed with
Mm.
apple juice when I was a kid, and I had this strawberry shortcake tin lunchbox that every time I opened it up, it just smelled so strong of apple juice. So anytime I smell apple juice now, I'm like literally like sitting on the rug in preschool. It's
That's so
crazy.
cute.
And then my dad wore this scent called Jovan Musk
Huh.
in the 80s when I was really, really little. And they still have it. I mean, you would
Okay.
buy it at like Walmart or like
Mm.
maybe like Macy's might
Uh-huh.
have it. But it's musk, like
Mm.
straightforward. I love musk scents. Like that's my favorite
Yeah.
thing. And I think it reminds me of growing up and like my dad wearing it all the
I
time.
love that. It
Yeah.
just takes you back.
So apple juice and Jovan Musk. Classic combination. Okay, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Let's do it.
And these are like, as like a tastemaker, all trendsetter, inquiring minds really want to know. So just give me one word answers.
Ooh,
I know.
I'm the worst at this.
Why?
Because will give it to you, but I'll have like 10 sentences to follow up with the one word answer. But
Okay.
I'll try my best.
Okay. Candles or incense?
Candles,
Okay. Botox or bangs?
Botox.
Cardio or weights?
You need both.
Yeah.
But what's Pilates? That's weights, no?
Yeah.
Weights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Oh, naturally a night owl, but forced an early bird now.
With kids.
Yes, exactly.
Scent wise, musky or woody or bright and floral?
Musky.
Um, what are you doing, watching, taking, practicing right now that just immediately gets your endorphins going?
Pilates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Every
there
day.
every
Yeah.
day?
Well, no, Monday through Friday, every day,
That's
weekday.
I
Yeah.
consider that every day. Okay, what are your 3 tips for living well?
One is sleep. Again, something that I've learned the hard way. Two, obviously exercising, learning the hard way. And I know these are so obvious, but
Yeah.
until you get to like 40, you're like, okay, I got to really take it seriously because we all know this stuff.
Right.
And I would say maybe a not so obvious one that I don't really talk about is non processed foods.
Mm.
This was really hard for me because I grew up with a family who ate at McDonald's every Sunday.
Really?
That was like our thing, like family, Korean family meal, like after church, going to like McDonald's, and we would have like our breakfast burger or, sandwich
Ours
there.
was Burger King.
Oh, was it?
After church on Sunday, we got Burger King.
Oh,
So it was like a treat.
but like our parents didn't know, right?
No,
So they don't
totally.
have all this information that we do now, but just seeing all the studies that come out with the harmful things that are like microplastics, all that.
Of
Again, I'm
course.
not perfect by all means. This
Of
is
course.
all new to me as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
studies are just coming out more and more. And I'm learning. My mom had breast cancer. It's not supposedly it's not genetic. It's from environmental
Same
factors.
with my mom. It's
Yeah,
hormonal, but it could
yeah.
be environmental factors.
And
Totally.
so I've been going down this path of okay, and there's so many women I'm sure you know that just cannot get pregnant anymore
Mm-hmm.
either, right? And or have had miscarriages. That's become completely normal. I've had 2 miscarriages myself.
Mm.
And so it's kind of gotten me interested and curious going down this path of environmental factors
Mm-hmm.
and non-processed foods,
Mm-hmm.
microplastics, all of those are included in this. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm not a pro at this whatsoever. It's a new category that I'm trying to learn more
Educate
about and
yourself.
educate
Right.
myself in. And the more you know, the scarier it gets.
I know.
But I think with knowledge is power, and you could just make better. It's not about perfection, but it's just making better little decisions every single day for
Yeah.
yourself and your family.
So what's like something you haven't yet done with Fleur that you'd like to see happen in the next year to 5
Oh
years?
my God, I mean, I could sit here for hours talking about this, but international, we've only tapped into the US market and Canada and a bit of UK. So I think there's a lot of opportunity internationally. I think scent is growing globally right now.
Huge.
So just, going from, I don't know, dreams of like going into the Middle East, Asia, Australia, Mexico. There's just so much opportunity that I want to bring Fleur into these new locations. Also, categories, different categories, unexpected categories, and just continuing to develop scents that are unexpected that move people emotionally. So yeah.
That's exciting. She's going global. Thank you so much again for being here. Tell us all where we can find you.
Thank you for having me. It just went by too fast.
I know.
You could find me personally at Chriselle Lim or my brand at Flur, Phlur.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Live and Well, and we'll see you in the next one. Live and Well is hosted by me, Melissa Magsaysay. Our senior producers are Jordan Patterson and Hannah Matner. Our associate producer is Sarah Kitnick. Our video director is Julia McCabe. Our director of post-production is Patrick Stewart. Our senior sound recording engineer is Nick Norton. And motion graphics by Dougal Henkin. Our video editor is Hannah Matner. Ben Church is our senior coordinating producer. And Anne-Marie Hauser is our production manager. Our podcast marketing and social media manager is Bella Martinez. Our general counsel at LA Times is Jeff Glasser. Special thanks to President and Chief Operating Officer of the Los Angeles Times, Chris Argenteri, and Executive Editor of the Los Angeles Times, Terry Tang. Live and Well is created by LA Times Studios President Anna Magsaysay and executive produced by Darius Derrickson and Flora Macari.